Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Diego. I'm a final year master's student at Imperial College London, and today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the most recent GAMSAT paper. Yes, the GAMSAT. Last week's GAMSAT paper, I sat it and I've got some thoughts. So yeah, quickly before we get into this video, just want to encourage you to please subscribe, like, comment and share this video. Also on my channel you'll find everything related from medicine, my journey, my pursuit into getting into medicine, general university tips, fitness stuff and just general travel stuff. Today I'm in Lithuania and I just got some free time, so I thought this would be a good idea to record this. So yeah, I'm going to be splitting this video into 4 sections and the timestamps will be posted below in the description. So yeah, if you're short of time and you really want to, get to specific bits, then you can do that. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, I'm going to give my general feeling on how I think the exam went. Overall, I'm feeling quite positive. On the day, I was a bit nervous post-exam, but now that I've had some days now to think and reflect back on the exam and how I did, I can say that I feel quite positive. Like I said in my video previously, going into the exam, I always thought of it like practice, and not necessarily because I hadn't prepared or I was taking this, I was sort of slacking. It wasn't because of that. It was just because I understood that it was a tough exam, and I also wanted to just get a general feeling of how the exam really is. Post-exam, I felt quite nervous, didn't feel too good. Now that I've had some days to really reflect on it, I'm feeling quite positive. And at this point, it's really just about reflecting and seeing how I can improve for the next exam if that's needed. Exam results, as far as I am aware, come out in May. So we've got some time until they actually until I know if I have to sit it again. First of all, that's what I want to say. I thought it went quite well. I'm feeling quite positive, and yes. So going into the exam, I felt pretty confident with section 1, mainly because I felt that my previous degree had prepared me quite well for it. They were quite content heavy, and so reading articles, journals, stuff like that was quite common to me. It was something that I'd done before. What wasn't something that I'd done before, or something that I didn't really like to do that much, was reading poems and stuff like that. And that was also necessary, to be able to read through a poem, be able to extract what they're saying, and then also, if there's a question that comes up on it, then being able to answer that question. What I did is that going into the exam, I started to read a lot more political journals and newspapers. So I signed up with The Economist. I started to read papers related to foreign affairs, listen to podcasts, just because I wanted to be exposed to that way of writing and the message behind the pieces also. I thought that was good, and now that I've done the exam and I've done section 1, I felt that my thoughts is that I feel like it went really well. I did find that the mock papers, they were a close representation of what section 1 really was in the real exam, and there were some passages which were way more lengthier than the ones in the mock, which wasn't necessarily a shock, but you do have to take that into consideration when you're doing the exam. That might come up. So yeah, section 1 I felt really good, and I feel like if you read, if maybe you're not someone who likes to read that much, but if leading up maybe into into 2 months before the exam, if you sign up to The Economist or just read good quality papers, and you familiarize yourself with a wide range of vocabulary, but personally, I don't think that really was an issue here in the exam or the mock papers. Vocabulary is important, but as you read new material, you'll start to pick things up. And you can also discern what the word's trying to say through the context of the whole passage. So that's what I have to say about section 1. So section 2. So going into section 2 and going into the exam, I felt quite frustrated with myself, mainly because I felt like section 2 is a section where picking up marks can be quite easy, not necessarily because there isn't any skill involved, but because I guess developing the skill of writing and responding to specific quotes or general theme, I think like that is something you can master a bit easier than reasoning in sciences and stuff like that. So that was something that I was annoyed with myself, that I wasn't able to do much practice of. Now that I think about it, it was quite hard for me to do it because I was balancing full-time work and also my part-time studies, which I've got like essays to write up and my theses coming up also, and then having the GAMSAT on the side. It was a lot. But now that I'm not sure if I'm going to sit it in September. I still don't know my results. But even though I'm still going to be preparing for it, just in case I need to sit it again, I'm going to make sure to strengthen this area. Once the exam was over, I felt quite happy with my performance of section 2, and it went better than I expected it. I will say that the quotes were quite generous in the theme that they were. I can't remember exactly what the quotes were and stuff like that, but it was sort of around politics, and I think the other one's about like creativity or something like that. So I thought that they were quite generous themes, and I felt that they, it wasn't too hard to actually write something on it. So yeah, but what I did is the last 2 weeks before the exam, I would spend like 3 days per week where in the morning or the evening I'd write some practice essays. And I did this through a PDF guide that I found of Desanil's section 2 review. And there was like exercises where you would essentially go through sample quotes and themes, and you'd reply to it, and then there'd be a whole lot of other responses that other people had written, and just teach you how to structure it and stuff like that. And even though I knew 2 weeks I felt at that point wasn't gonna be enough, it turned out, personally, from what I felt how the exam went, it turned out to be enough. What I would advise is to practice section 2 well in advance, 2 months before. Do maybe 2 practice essays per week, and yeah, you should be fine. But this is a section you shouldn't overlook. Of course, when you're looking through the GAMSAT structure, section 3 takes your attention because it's worth double the marks. But section 2, you still can get some good marks. You can pick up some good marks if you give it some time. And quickly, just before I finish with section 2, what I will say is that what I personally found difficult wasn't necessarily writing or the structure or the vocabulary, stuff like that. What I found difficult was writing down like a plan, and then from what I had in my plan, then actually translating that into full paragraphs, and also writing a plan which was conducive to a like coherent actual piece. That's what I found more difficult, and that only comes with practice for me. And if you are finding that's an issue for you, then it will just come through practice. So initially, if you're not doing well in that, that's normal. The more time you dedicate to it, you're gonna get better at it. So yeah, so that's something that I found, which for me personally was difficult. So finally, section 3. Yes, the dreaded section 3. What I will say about this is that it was definitely the section which I found less, that I performed less well in. Everyone knows that section 3 is the hardest section of the whole exam, and it's 110 minutes. There's 110 questions. It's just about 3 hours long. You've come just out of lunch and you're a bit tired. You've had the first 2 sections. So there's a lot of elements that play into making it difficult. Plus the questions aren't easy. So how I felt before the exam going into this, I knew it was going to be difficult, but I felt like I could do it. And I felt like it wasn't going to be necessarily impossible to get a good grade at. But what what I found a bit confusing, what more than finding it difficult on the day, I found it confusing a bit. And what I found confusing was the general layout of section 3. And that was because through doing, I've done all of the past mock papers which are available on ACER's website. And what I found was that, of course, it's obviously reasoning. So, reasoning is essentially what they're testing on. But there was a clear element of chemistry, physics, and biology. And the reasoning was embedded into a question surrounding the topic in chemistry, biology, or physics. With this exam, and I'm not sure, I think it's also been the case in the previous exams, but because this was my first attempt at a real exam, I wasn't aware that this was the case. What I found was that it was practically a clear reasoning question with chemistry embedded into the question. So it was the opposite. There was just like traces of chemistry and biology and physics in the question. And for me that was a bit confusing, because my technique, before, my strategy in my mind before going into the exam was that I was going to flick through the pages and look for chemistry related topics, stuff related to acid and bases, organic chemistry, general topics, stuff like that. And off that, then I could do those first, genetic stuff, do that first. But here, when I went through the questions, it wasn't like that. I couldn't really notice any clear-cut questions related to science. And so for me, that was a bit confusing in the beginning. After, I spent like maybe 10-15 minutes looking for it, starting to realize what the format was. Then I just went into the questions. There was a strong element of maths which is involved. So I would stress, do strengthen your mathematical skills. As much as it's important for you to do biology, chemistry, and physics revision, I feel that these, really strengthening your maths is going to put you in good stead. There were some questions which I guessed because I just didn't have time, and I also didn't even know how to answer them. There was a lot of questions which, through reading, I was able to answer. But I feel like the first two sections I did really well, and overall I'm feeling pretty confident. But even if I have to retake it, now I've got an idea that as much as revising chemistry, biology, and physics is important, I need to strengthen my math skills even more. I did it, but now I've got a real, first-hand experience of what the exam really is like. So that's how I found section 3. It is hard, but it is certainly doable. If you've been preparing for more than 3 months, which I would advise, then you'll be good. I prepared for about just over 2 months, but it wasn't 4 days, because like I said, I'm working full time. So in the evening after work, I'd go to the library, and it is quite difficult. So if you're working full time, I would advise 4 to 6 months. Prepare yourselves, really strengthen skills. So writing skills, reading skills, math skills, reasoning skills, and off of that, then strengthen your, biology, chemistry. Because I found that what I did more was focus specifically for section 3, focus more on biology, chemistry, physics, and then the other skills. But now I've done it. I understand now where I need to strengthen or change my approach. And that's the whole point of these type of videos, and just in general, to reflect on your performance and see how you can do better. So yeah, that's it for today, and I hope you found this video somewhat insightful or useful. If you did, please subscribe, like, comment, share, and I'd love to hear your feedback, also your comments on how you felt the exam went for you last week, or maybe you've done it previously the year before. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. And always remember, the GAMSAT is a high stakes exam, and because it is, it's going to be hard. And as long as you dedicate yourself, you're strategic about the way you approach the exam, and you reflect about how you're doing, and you're honest with yourself, you'll do well. I think you'll do well. You have to remain positive. I'm remaining positive, and ultimately it'll work out. So yeah, you just have to work on your skills day by day and just go for it. Again, if you found this video somewhat insightful, useful, please like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, thank you for visiting. My name's Diego, and it's been a pleasure to have you here. Thank you.